Hi, Eileen and Stephanie. Just doing an audio check since we're in the courtroom. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
Good afternoon. Is everybody ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. Good afternoon. My name is Segev. I'm the administrative law judge assigned to hear proceeding number 24G-0085TO. Today is September 4th, 2024. It is now 1:01 p.m. This matter comes on for hearing pursuant to decision number R24-0395-I. I am now calling the hearing to order. Before we start with entries of appearance, or at least one entry of appearance, I want to remind staff that it's the Commission's practice to webcast legal proceedings, both the audio and video feeds of this proceeding webcast. We're also recording the hearing, and we have a court reporter who is transcribing everything that's being said during the hearing. Ms. Hayden, Ms. Chong, welcome. Would you please enter your appearance?
Yes, Your Honor. Assistant Attorneys General Aileen Chong and Jennifer Hayden with the Colorado Department of Law appearing on behalf of PUC staff. With us is staff witness Jay Estrada.
Thank you very much. Ms. Chong, is staff ready to present its evidence?
And Your Honor, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm having trouble hearing you. Is there a mic that you can speak into a little bit more?
Is that better?
That's a bit better, thank you.
I'll just have to remind myself to put the microphone very close to my mouth throughout the hearing. If you cannot hear me, please feel free to interrupt and tell me that you cannot hear me.
Okay, I appreciate that. And staff does have a preliminary matter before we jump into the hearing, if that's okay.
Of course, go ahead.
And Your Honor, this is with regards to the Cpan. Staff would like to lodge an oral motion to amend pursuant to CRS 47116 subsection 2. The Cpan currently is numbered as 137420. However, that was a typographical error and it should actually read 137240. I'm happy to follow this oral motion up with a written motion, but I do believe that per the subsection, any defect in the content of a Cpan may be cured by a motion to amend prior to the hearing unless substantial rights of the person cited are prejudiced by the amendment. Given that this is just a simple change in the number, I don't believe that this prejudices the respondent in any way, so we would ask the court to grant this oral motion to amend the Cpan.
The motion will be granted and followed, I will state as much in my recommended decision. So your motion is noted, it is granted, and it will be followed up within my written recommended decision. It will state that it is granted.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. And with that, staff is ready to proceed.
And staff did see that the staff's prior motion to amend was granted as well, and I think the decision granting the first motion to amend the Cpan was issued this morning. Did you see that?
We did, and thank you.
All right, very good. All right, with that, you may call your first witness. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Staff calls Investigator Jay Estrada to the stand.
Mr. Estrada, would you please raise your right hand? You swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
You may put your hand down. Please proceed, Ms. Chong.
Thank you. Good afternoon, investigator. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, Jay Estrada. That's Jay-E-S-T-R-A-D-A.
And where are you employed?
With the state of Colorado, specifically the Public Utilities Commission.
How long have you been employed by the state of Colorado?
About 5 years now.
What is your position and title within the Public Utilities Commission?
I'm a criminal investigator in the transportation section
What do your responsibilities entail?
to investigate and follow up on complaints issued against any numerous of the entities that we regulate.
Do you have any prior work experience in law enforcement or any related duties?
Yes, I have over 30 years of law enforcement experience in various fields, ranging from dispatch to detentions to patrol and investigations as a detective.
Thank you. And I want to turn your attention now to the case that we are here for today. How did you come to be assigned to the case that brings us to a hearing today?
It was assigned to me by my investigator, Lloyd Swint.
And did it come in, how did the case come into the PUC?
It was lodged by the complainant. Her name is Crystal Engler, and the complaint was then forwarded to me from our Consumer Affairs Division via email from Investigator Swint.
Who was Miss Engler, the complainant, complaining against?
Mns Towing.
Okay. And who is the designated agent for Mns Towing?
Sergio Cornejo.
So bring your attention to that complaint. As part of your investigation, did you review that complaint?
I did.
And what did you learn from that complaint?
That Miss Engler felt that her vehicle was wrongfully towed because it had been recently vandalized, but then was towed for being abandoned.
And in that complaint, did Miss Engler outline if she took any steps to get her vehicle back?
Yes, she said she tried to go to the tow company with the reduced form, which came to be in the new law that went into effect in August 2022, and she attempted to get the reduced payment and payment plan put in place.
And was she ultimately able to get her vehicle back?
No, she was denied.
In this complaint, did she explain anything else that the company said to her as a result of them denying her request to get her car back?
Yeah, in her original complaint, she felt that this was an act of revenge by the tow company based on a previous tow in which they were ordered to give her a refund back. And I'm sorry, not ordered, but which they did give a refund back. And they told her, well, you should have learned from the last time what happened.
So according to this complaint, Miss Engler had prior interactions with Mns Towing.
Yes.
And Investigator Estrada, as part of your investigation, did you speak with complainant Crystal Engler directly?
Yes, I did.
What did you learn from your personal conversation with her?
Pretty much exactly what the complaint said and what actions she took and the efforts of her trying to get her vehicle back.
Did she tell you anything about the state of her vehicle?
She said that other than it being vandalized and it was one window that was broken out, it was operable and that she was living out of it. And that's why she doesn't understand why it was towed for allegedly being abandoned.
Okay, thank you. Investigator Estrada, are towing operators required to inform police departments when conducting a non-consensual tow?
Yes, they have 30 minutes after the tow is done to report it to law enforcement.
And did you contact Jennifer Underwood at the Colorado Springs Police Department?
Yes, I did.
Why did you reach out to her?
To see if she had any record of the vehicle being towed, because in the complaint that I received, there was no vehicle information or location of where it was towed from, and Crystal had none of that information.
And what were you able to learn from Miss Underwood?
Eventually, I was able to give her at least the make and model, and then I did later speak with April and get the address from where it was towed from, and Jennifer was able to get me the record of the tow occurring.
Thank you. Did you contact the respondent towing company as a part of your investigation?
Yes, I did.
How did you contact the respondent?
Via email.
And where did you get this email address?
From the data, our IFMS database, our integrated files management system, which logs all the information for the permitted entities, and this information came under the designated agent tab of that company.
Did respondent email you back?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the conversation that you had with the respondent?
Well, initially, no documentation was received by our Consumer Affairs Department, who screened and triaged the original complaint and asked for information, but yet never received anything. Mostly this was based on not having any vehicle information. When I reached out to them, they basically said the same thing.
Mr. Estrada, would
Yes,
you
sir.
just hold on just one second?
Estrada, would you please speak into the microphone and speak up, please?
Okay, I'm sorry. I did not realize I was low.
Just maybe the last, let's say, 2 or 3 sentences. Ms. Chong, would you kindly ask your last question?
Yes, Your Honor. Investigator Estrada, can you tell us a little bit about the correspondence that you had with respondent?
Yes, when I reached out to him via email, I was already advised by the previous investigation done by our Consumer Affairs that no documentation was received because no vehicle information was given. I was told originally the same thing. I then let him know the further information I found out about the vehicle, the make, and where it was towed from, and I was supplied some information.
Okay. Can we please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 101? Investigator Estrada, what is this?
This is the response that I received from Mns Towing when I asked for documentation. It looks like it consists of the 3 photographs that he supplied to me.
Okay. So do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
How are you familiar with this exhibit?
This is the email that he sent to me when I requested information about the tow.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this time, staff would move to admit what's been marked as hearing exhibit 101 into evidence.
Hearing exhibit 101 is admitted.
Thank you. And if we could please scroll down to the bottom of this exhibit. In this email chain, who did respondent say signed the tow invoice?
Miss Jean Agee, property management.
Okay. And this was the property manager of the location of where the Miss Engler's car was towed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And we can pull this exhibit down.
Actually, just a quick moment. Was that the last page? I'm sorry, Stephanie, would you please? That was the very bottom of the last page?
Yes, Your Honor. It says, and Mr. Estrada, do you want to just read exactly?
Yeah,
What
I see now. It just says page 305. That's what confused me, but I see that it's the last page. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. And we can pull this exhibit down now. Investigator Estrada, what documents did respondent provide you with?
He did eventually provide me with, I believe, the invoice, the vehicle record search, the certified mail requirement, and a bill of sale or receipt.
Okay. And did he also send you photos?
I'm sorry, yes, along with the photos that were already mentioned, yes.
Great, sounds good. And so I want to start off with the invoice that you had mentioned. Can we please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit number 103, the public version? And if we can scroll through. Thank you. Investigator Estrada, what is this?
That is the invoice for the tow of the vehicle that was submitted to me by Mns Towing.
Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes.
How are you familiar with this exhibit?
That is the invoice that was provided to me by Mns Towing for the tow of the vehicle.
At this time, Your Honor, staff would move to admit what's been pre-marked as hearing exhibit 103, the public version, as well as the confidential version.
Perhaps I'm missing something, but are there any Oh, there is a redaction of the VIN, I see. Hearing exhibit 103 is admitted.
Thank you. Investigator Estrada, what did the invoice say as it relates to the reason for the tow?
Well, it lists actually numerous reasons. Number one, it mentions that the vehicle's inoperable, mentions that it's in 24-hour parking. I'm not really even sure how that's even applicable here, but it's mentioned there. It says it's blocking a dumpster, has broken glass, it's inoperable, and has flat tires, and the manager, Gene, requested an immediate tow.
And if we can scroll down to the bottom of this exhibit. At the bottom there at the signature line, who allegedly signed this invoice?
Gene Agee, the manager for the property.
And Investigator Estrada, were you able to verify whether or not Ms. Agee signed this invoice?
Yes, I did.
What steps did you take?
I called her and specifically asked her if she recalled authorizing any tows at this time of year, and specifically this one. And she said that she had been manager there for a long time and does not recall authorizing anything, any kind of tows.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Investigator Estrada. And at this time, if we can pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit number 102. Investigator Estrada, did you also email Ms. Agee?
Yes, when I was talking to her on the phone, I asked her if she'd be willing to look at the invoice and tell me if that was her signature or not, and she said she would. And this is the email I sent her with the invoice attached.
So you recognize this exhibit?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with this exhibit?
That is the one I sent Ms. Agee.
Your Honor, at this time, staff would move to admit what's been marked as hearing exhibit 102.
Hearing exhibit 102 is admitted.
Thank you. And Investigator Estrada, as you mentioned, you sent Ms. Agee a copy of that invoice, correct?
Yes.
And you asked her to confirm whether or not it was her signature?
Yes.
And if we can scroll down to page 2, what was Ms. Agee's response to your inquiry?
No, it's not.
Okay. And we can pull down this exhibit. So Investigator Estrada, do you know who actually signed that tow invoice?
No, I don't.
But you do know that Ms. Agee is not the one who signed it.
Yes, correct.
Thank you. And at this time, can we please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit number 104? You can scroll through. Thank you. Investigator Estrada, what is this?
It's actually one of the pictures that was sent to me by Mns Towing.
Okay, and there's 3 total. Can you confirm that all 3 are photos that Mns Towing sent you?
Yes, they are.
So you recognize this exhibit?
Yes,
How are you familiar with this exhibit?
those are the pictures that were sent to me by Mns Towing on my initial request.
Your Honor, at this time, staff would move to admit what's been marked as hearing exhibit 104.
Hearing exhibit 104 is admitted.
Thank you. Investigator Estrada, how many photos did respondent take of the vehicle?
3.
Was there a photo taken of the vehicle from the front,
Yes.
from the rear,
No.
from the driver's side,
Yes.
from the passenger side?
No.
Did the vehicle fill at least 3/4 of the photograph? And we can take it in turn. So in photo number 1, does the alleged towed vehicle fill 3/4 of the picture?
No.
And if we could scroll to photo number 2. Does the vehicle here fill 3/4 of the photo?
I would say it's close.
And photo number 3.
No.
In this picture, does a vehicle fill 3/4 of the photograph?
I'm sorry, no.
Okay. And did these photos show the reason for the vehicle being towed as listed in the invoice?
The only reasons even closer, number 1 is the broken glass. As far as it being Abandoned, I've got nothing to suggest it's abandoned. Just because the window is broken and the hood is up does not mean it's abandoned. It does not mean it's inoperable. Who knows if it's inoperable based on a picture? There is no signs suggesting that it's not a parking area. As a matter of fact, it's just the opposite. It's clearly marked with the yellow line and the parking block. There are no signs posted on the fence or to the side to suggest there's no parking allowed, and I do not see anything as far as a dumpster.
Okay. And are these the only photos that respondent sent you in response to your inquiry?
Yes.
So there were no photos of any signage around the area?
No.
Okay, thank you. And we can pull this exhibit down. Next, I want to talk about the salvage receipt of sale. Can we please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit number 105, the public version? And Investigator Estrada, can you please remind us what respondent told you with regards to the sale of the towed vehicle?
In his email, I believe he used the term scrapped.
Okay. So he said that the vehicle was scrapped?
Yes.
Okay. And in response to that, did you request for any documentations with regards to the scrap?
Yes.
And what kind of documentation were you looking for?
Anything to show the sale of the vehicle, an appraisal of the vehicle, anything at all.
Okay. And looking at this exhibit here, what is this?
That is the bill of sale / receipt that was given to me by Mns Towing.
So you recognize this exhibit?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with this exhibit?
That is the receipt / bill of sale that was given to me by Mns Towing.
Thank you. At this time, Your Honor, staff would move to admit what's been marked as hearing exhibit number 105, the public version, as well as the confidential version.
Hearing exhibit 105 is admitted.
Thank you. Investigator Estrada, what date did the sale take place? And if we could scroll up a little, thank you.
Looks like December 26th of 2023.
And is that 133 days from when the tow occurred on August 15th, 2023?
Yes.
How much did the salvage yard buy the complainant's vehicle for?
$500.
Did the respondent provide you with any documentation with regards to how they came to that number, 500?
No.
Did he provide you with any documentation that an appraisal occurred?
No.
Thank you, and we can pull this exhibit down. Based on your investigation, did you ultimately issue a Cpan?
Yes, I did.
And if we can pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 106. Is this a Cpan?
Yes, it is.
Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes.
How are you familiar with this exhibit?
That is the Cpan I drafted and had served on Mns Towing.
Are Cpans made as part of the regular practice of the PUC?
Yes.
Are Cpans kept in the ordinary course of regularly conducted business by the PUC?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, staff would move to admit what's been marked as hearing exhibit 106.
Hearing exhibit 106 is admitted.
Thank you. Investigator Estrada, did you serve respondent with a copy of the Cpan?
Via certified mail, yes.
And how did you obtain the addresses on which to serve respondent via certified mail?
I believe I obtained 2 through our IFMs, once again, our integrated filing management system, and then I believe the other one through the Secretary of State website.
Okay, so how many addresses total did you send it to?
3.
And did you get any proof of delivery of
Yes,
the
I did.
Cpan?
Yes.
To how many addresses?
I believe it was just 1.
Okay, thank you. And you had mentioned IFM, so I want to move on to that. And we can pull this exhibit down. What type of business is Mns Towing engaged in?
Towing.
Is that type of business regulated by the PUC?
Yes.
With regards to this case before the commission, do you know whether Mns Towing had an active permit to tow?
At the time of the tow, yes, they did.
So Towing was regulated by the PUC at this time.
Yes.
Can we please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 107, the public version? If we can scroll a little bit. Thank you. And Investigator Estrada, what is this?
Looks like that was one of the pages in the IFM's composite report, basically showing the name history, and address information.
And can you explain to us what IFMS is?
It's the Integrated Filings Management System. It's a database where all the information that's required by the entities that we are regulated to have on, that are required to have on file with the commission.
Is this report created as part of the regular practice of the PUC?
Yes.
Is this report kept in the ordinary course of regularly conducted business by the PUC?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, staff would move to admit what's been marked as hearing exhibit 107, both the public version and the confidential version.
Hearing exhibit 107 is admitted.
Thank you. And if we could please scroll to page 2. Oh, I see you're already there. Who is the owner of Mns Towing?
Sergio Cornejo.
Okay. And if we can, and do you see that listed on the IFMs?
Yes.
And what is the full name?
Sergio Antuar Cornejo Alcala.
Okay. And then if we can scroll down from page 2 through 6. Thank you. Are these the addresses that Mr. Cornejo had on file for Mns Towing?
Yes, over the history, yes.
And was it from this list that you were able to find which address to serve the Cpan to?
Yes.
And if we can scroll to, oh, I see that we're right there. And on page 6, at the bottom, there's a list of email addresses. Is that the email address that you use to correspond with the respondent in this case?
Just the mnstowingcolorado@gmail.com.
Okay. So in your understanding, when you were corresponding with that email address, who were you corresponding with?
I believe I was talking to Sergio Cornejo or his wife, Alicia, who I had spoken to in past with other cases.
Okay. And I'm sorry, did I already move to admit this exhibit?
I believe I did admit hearing exhibit 107.
Thank you. I apologize, Your Honor. And we can go ahead and put this exhibit down. Can we please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 108?
I'm sorry, Stephanie, could you please put it up again? I just and scroll between 6 and the last page. I think it's 10. Scroll down, if you would, please. Yeah, just. Very good. All right. Please proceed, Ms. Chong.
Yes, thank you. If we could please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 108. What is this, Investigator Estrada?
That is a screenshot of the address page in our IFM system to tell me where the Mns Towing, where their mailing address, physical address, storage location, and any other addresses might be located.
And is this report created as part of the regular practice of the PUC?
Yes.
Is this report kept in the ordinary course of regularly conducted business by the PUC?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, staff would move to admit staff's hearing exhibit 108.
Hearing exhibit 108 is admitted.
Thank you. Investigator Estrada, did you also use oprights to confirm respondent's address?
Yes.
And that's listed on the left side of that page right there.
Yes.
Thank you. And we can go ahead and pull this exhibit down. Investigator Estrada, what is your recommendation today for this hearing?
That, the young lady's vehicle is gone, and that I ask that all full penalties be enforced because this company has a history of several violations, similar violations, several cases that are pending, some are that have been adjudicated, and they have a history of bad practice, and therefore I ask the court to institute all fines.
So he does have a prior history that you're aware of.
Yes.
And that prior history includes decisions from the commission ordering a fine as a result of those violations.
Fine and sometimes refunds.
Great. Thank you, Investigator Estrada. And Your Honor, I have no further questions.
I just have a couple, if I may. Mr. Estrada, you mentioned that I believe it was Mr. Cornejo who told the complainant that she should have learned from the first tow or the other tow or something to that extent. And you also mentioned that in that same context that the complainant received a refund for that tow. Was that a part of a PUC case? And if so, do you know the case number for that occurrence?
That was a prior PUC case. Yes, it was. He was issued a violation warning letter for it. He offered to give the refund back to Crystal. I do not have the case number on top of me. I believe I gave it to Ms. Chong. Do you have that, Aileen?
I don't have it handy, no, the violation number, and I don't know, was a proceeding actually opened since he had paid it?
No, there was no proceeding. It would have been done just under a CCTS case number. If you'd like to give me a minute, Your Honor, I can find that for you.
Well, I think it also ties into the next question. The very last question that Ms. Chong asked you is about the history of the respondents' cases with the commission. Does staff have, do you, Mr. Estrada, know of the case number associated with those prior proceedings?
Yes, those we do have. And once again, I gave those to Ms. Chong also.
Are they listed on any of the exhibits that were presented today? Any between 101 and 108?
Not 101, 108. We did submit into the box the exhibits of any prior CPANs and decisions, and that's hearing exhibits 109 through 118. If it's the court's preference for us to admit that into the hearing today, I'm happy to move through that.
I think it might make for a better record if you move to admit each and every one of these exhibits. I could also let's just do that if we could. I think it would, like I said, it would provide for the best evidentiary record, and it would help in my drafting of a recommended decision. So let's go ahead and have you please, Ms. Chong, move to admit each of these exhibits. But before that, I do not have any more questions for you, Mr. Estrada. Ms. Chong, do you have any redirect?
No, Your Honor, staff does not. Okay.
So let's, unless you have a different plan in mind, let's go ahead and admit those hearing exhibits. I believe you said 109 through what?
109 through 118.
Through 118. All right, so let's please go through very briefly through each one of them, and I'll admit them in the order presented.
Your Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt, sir. I do have the case number in that was done through PUC for that previous case that we talked about where he was ordered or he did give a refund to Crystal. I do have that for you if you'd like it, although there is no proceeding number.
I understand, but why won't you give me the case number?
Okay, that is going to be 130135.
And again, it was not opened as a case because the respondent, Mns Towing and or Sergio Cornejo, offered to refund the complainant's tow fees. Is that correct?
Yes, it was not opened as a proceeding. It was an active case, and the
Case, but not a.
investigator. Yeah, and
Sorry,
the thing,
go ahead.
yeah, it was opened as an active investigative case. There was just no proceeding because no Cpan was issued. He gave the refund, and she issued him a warning letter.
Who is she?
She is the investigator, Investigator Erin Hazlett. She's the one that investigated the case.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That's all I have. And again, Ms. Chong, I'll give you another opportunity if you wish to for redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. I do have questions for redirect, and I'll take this time to admit the exhibits 109 through 118. And I guess for efficiency's sake, if we can just open all the Cpans at once, and I'll move to admit those all at once with the same foundation, and then I'll admit the other exhibits accordingly. So if we could please present hearing exhibit 109. If we could scroll through that. And then 111. 111, that's the next Cpan.
Not 110. There's no 110?
There is, but I'm wanting to get all the Cpans in at once so I can lay foundation for them all together, and then I'll take the other exhibits one by one as well.
Very good.
So if
Thank
we could,
you.
yep. So if we could scroll through 111. And then 113, please. $115. $117. And 118. And are we able to scroll through 118 as well? Thank you. And Investigator Estrada, did I just show you a number of Cpans?
Yes.
And are Cpans kept in the regular conducted business of the PUC?
Yes.
And are they kept in the ordinary course of regularly conducted business by the PUC?
Yes.
And CPANs are made as a part of the regular practice of the PUC.
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, staff would move to admit staff's hearing exhibits number 109, 111, 113, 115, 117, and 118.
Thank you. Hearing exhibit 109, 111, 113, 115, 117, and 118 are admitted.
Thank you. And if we could please pull up hearing exhibit 110. And Investigator Estrada, what are we looking at here? Or I'll just let, if I could rephrase my question. Investigator Estrada, if we could pull up to the first page. Is this a recommended decision by Administrative Law Judge Segev for proceeding number 23G-0085TO?
Yes.
And if we can scroll down a little bit more. If we could stop right there. And is this decision have to do with Cpan number 133217?
Yes.
And are recommended decisions made as part of the regular practice of the PUC?
Yes.
They're kept in the ordinary course of regularly conducted business by the PUC?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, staff would move to admit hearing exhibit 110.
Hearing exhibit 110 is admitted.
Thank you. And if we could please pull up hearing exhibit 112. Investigator Estrada, is this a payment receipt for 23G-0085TO?
Yes.
And does this proceeding number have to do with Cpan 136053, which was previously admitted?
Yes.
And are acknowledgements of receipts of penalty payments made as part of the regular practice of the PUC?
Yes.
Are acknowledgements such as this one kept in the ordinary course of regularly conducted business by the PUC?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, staff would move to admit hearing exhibit 112 into evidence.
Hearing exhibit 112 is admitted.
Thank you. And if we could move on to hearing exhibit 114.
Did we admit 110?
Yes, I believe so.
Thank you.
Investigator Estrada, is this a recommended decision for proceeding number 23G-0480TO?
Yes.
And if we can scroll to the second page. Oh, right there, actually. And is this proceeding having to do with Cpan number 135384 that was previously admitted?
Yes.
Are recommended decisions such as this one made as part of the regular practice of the PUC?
Yes.
Are these recommended decisions kept in the ordinary course of regularly conducted business by the PUC?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, staff would move to admit hearing exhibit 114.
Hearing exhibit 114 is admitted.
Thank you. And lastly, could we please pull up hearing exhibit 116? Investigator Estrada, is this a recommended decision for proceeding number 24G-0044TO?
Yes.
And can we please scroll down a little? Does this proceeding have to do with Cpan number 138543?
Yes.
And are recommended decisions such as this one made as part of the regular practice of the PUC?
Yes.
Are recommended decisions like this kept in the ordinary course of regularly conducted business by the PUC?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, staff would move to admit hearing exhibit 116 into evidence.
Hearing exhibit 116 is admitted.
Thank you. And we can pull this one down, and I have just a couple of follow-up questions for Investigator Estrada. So, Investigator Estrada, are you familiar with Mns Towing?
Yes.
How are you familiar with them?
Well, based on the several investigations I had following up on complaints about the company.
So the Cpans that we just admitted, you served most of those Cpans, correct?
Yes.
Can you give us a general overview of what some of those violations consisted of?
Anything from authorization to documentation, which is mostly invoice violations, and then like today with photos, and sometimes with not submitting records upon request.
Thank you. Your Honor, staff has no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Estrada. You're excused. Does staff have any additional witnesses?
Staff does not have any additional witnesses, and we rest.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. I will take this matter under advisement and issue a written recommended decision. Any last minute questions?
None from
Hearing
staff,
none,
thank
we are
you.
adjourned. I'm sorry? None for staff. Very good. Okay, I shall do that then. I would like to just mention and enter into the record the fact that the respondent did not appear today. So it is only staff that appeared and presented its evidence, and respondent has not appeared and has not logged in and is not here. So with that, I think we're ready to adjourn. Thank you very much for your presentation. Sure, I will see you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.